What would it feel like if you were that striker that every defender feared, if you scored those goals that changed games, if you provided that spark that turned games around? Maybe there's something holding you back. Maybe you're missing opportunities. Maybe you're lacking confidence. But the good news is there are things that you can do to be that striker that every defender fears. In the next few minutes, we'll talk about several practical things that you can do to become the player that you want to be. First and foremost, you need to focus on your positioning as a striker or as an attacker. When you're in that attacking third, when you're in that box, so many professional goals, high-level goals are scored with one, maybe two touches because you have that high pressure on you from defenders in those tight areas. So you need to position your body so that when that ball arrives from a winger, from an outside back, from a center mid, you're ready to finish the ball as quickly as possible. If you're the fastest player on the pitch, or if you're the best finisher on the pitch, that doesn't matter if you're not positioning yourself well and getting in the places that you need to be. So many strikers forget that they need to operate on the blind side of defenders. How can you position yourself so that a defender cannot see both you and the ball at the same time? As an attacker, your goal is to make defenders make decisions, because when players make decisions, they often make the wrong one. So if you're standing in the line of sight of a defender that can see you and the ball at the same time, your positioning's wrong. You need to get on that blind side, make the defender have their head on a swivel so that they constantly have to check what's going on with the player with the ball and what's that striker, what's that attacker doing that's dangerous behind me that I need to keep an eye on. So when defenders have to think and look and do so many different things at the same time, it's easier for the player on the ball to have more time to make a decision, and it's better for you because the defender cannot track every single movement that you make as they have to worry about the ball as well. So once you get on this blind side, understanding the timing, having a good relationship with your teammates and knowing how they play is extremely important. If you see your winger driving end line and you know they like to hit it low into the near post, can you get on the blind side of a defender near the penalty spot, near the back post, and as you know your teammate's about to play that ball across, you cut in front of the defender with an angled run, with a diagonal run, a curved run, getting around them just in time to find that one-touch finish. There are so many strikers that you can study at the highest level that were not the best athletes in the world. You look back to the 90s, the early 2000s, there are so many players that come to mind, but these strikers, and even in modern day, they're not always the biggest, the fastest, or the strongest. They position themselves and they play with their intelligence. Even looking at Cristiano Ronaldo, when he was a younger player, he was direct, he was fast, he was dangerous, but as he's aged, he started to be more intelligent and he's positioning himself in the right areas so that he can get in at the exact moment he needs to find a header, to find a volley, or to get a quick one or two touch finish. Number two, as a striker or as an attacker, you need to master your first touch. And while this is important for every single position, as a striker, if you're that target number 9, it's so important that you can hold the ball up and be quality on the ball, not losing it easily. So you need to be that outlet for your teammate for hold up play so that your team can then build and get into that final third. And once your team's in that final third, can you position yourself well in the box? And even if there's not an opportunity to find a one-touch finish, you need to control that ball extremely well with your first touch so you can find a finish with that second touch. If you want to be a high-level footballer, it's not good enough to find a finish in 3, 4, 5 touches. You might be able to get away with this against low-level opposition, but at a high level, you need to finish in 1 or 2 touches. So that first touch has to be good enough to set yourself up so you can finish with the second. Number 3, you need to be able to deal with pressure. This is similar to the last point and it heavily involves the first touch, but dealing with pressure is so important at a high level because you're rarely going to be in a situation where you have plenty of time, plenty of space. There's always going to be pressure on you. So dealing with that pressure requires the first touch, the strength, and the intelligence to know where the pressure is coming from that you have to deal with. And this pressure will typically be on your back. If you're a 9, that striker, or if you're a winger, the defenders are going to be on your back. They're going to be putting pressure. So you need to be able to receive that ball with that pressure on your back to be strong and be able to hold the ball up or turn that defender. And specifically, when you have this pressure on your back, you should not be standing up straight with your arms close to your body. You need to build a strong base with your legs. You need to squat down. You need to have that pressure, that tension in your legs, and you have to put your arm out. Keep a bend on it at 90 degrees and don't let that defender push your arm down. It's a battle of arm positioning in a battle of strength. If you can position yourself well, use your legs, use your core, and get that arm out there and be on top of the defender's arm, you can hold them off, and a good ref is not going to call it a foul. And lastly, of course, we have to talk about finishing. As a striker, so much of what you do is judged based off how you finish the ball, how many goals you have, sometimes how many assists you have. But as a striker, at every single level, you're judged off of goals. You need to be able to consistently and efficiently put the ball in the back of the net. If you do everything that we've already discussed, but you can't put the ball in the back of the net, then it really all goes to waste. So you need to piece together from step one all the way through now. Use everything that leads up to it, but you have to put the training in under pressure to be able to finish the ball in various scenarios. You can't just go out to a field and put a ball down and hit a static ball from 30 yards. That's not game realistic. You need to train with a bouncing ball, balls coming in from different angles, working on volleys, half volleys, instep, laces, strong foot, weak foot. You need to work on all these different things and try to replicate game-like scenarios, including crosses, balls driven into you with your back to goal, getting in behind and using some pace and a first-time finish. These are all things that you need to be able to do as a striker. And it might seem a little bit overwhelming, but to put it simply, you just need to train in realistic scenarios, not just putting a ball down and taking random shots for an hour. And another thing to keep in mind is the type of finish that you need to find. Are you going to hit the ball with pace with your laces, or can you look to use the inside of your foot and pass the ball into a corner of the net? And this requires confidence and control on the ball so that you can allow yourself the time to get your head up and to see where that goalkeeper is. As a coach, I've seen so many times where my players aren't extremely confident on the ball. So as they get in behind and when they have a really good opportunity, instead of looking at the keeper, instead of looking at the goal, they're staring straight down, trying to sort their feet out with the ball. When if they were able to get their head up, they could see that the goalkeeper was covering near post, but the far post was wide open. So being able to piece together everything we've talked about, having that comfort, having that confidence on the ball will allow you the ability that when you get into those scenarios, you can calm down, you can stay relaxed, and you can find the back of the net however you need to. So again, make sure you're focusing on your training on different parts of the pitch. Don't only work on finishing on the right-hand side of the box with your right foot going far post. Work on both feet, work on every single area of the box and just outside so that when those situations arise in game, you'll be able to hit the back of the net. So since you made it this far, make sure you like and subscribe because I post weekly content that'll help you to be a better footballer. And also while you're here, make sure you comment down below. Let me know what your strong foot is and what you're working on to become a better footballer. Catch you in the next video.